Good day, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Executive Insights by Shipping and Freight Resource. I'm Harish Manadia. Today, I'm pleased to have with me Grant Hunter, the Director of Standards Innovation and Research for BIMCO. Good day, Grant, and welcome to the show.
Yes, hello. Thank you very much for inviting me, Harish.
Grant, a lot of people still may be in the uh, area of understanding what BIMCO is and what BIMCO does. So can you give us a brief glimpse of your core activity as the Director for Standards and Innovation?
Sure. BIMCO, in a nutshell, is the world's largest private international ship owners association. Our members, our owners and operators are responsible for something like 65% of the world's merchant fleet. So we're quite a sizable organization. We're very much focused on regulating the shipping industry, helping the daily operations of our members. We're a very practical organization. And one of the key areas which we're increasingly looking at is digitalization and how we can help our membership through a digital transformation so that they can realize the benefits of digitalization. So we're very active in raising awareness and educating not only amongst our members, but amongst the wider industry all about digitalization and hopefully acting on their behalf to clear some of the obstacles that still remain.
So the question of digitalization also obviously sometimes brings up for people, just somebody scanning documentation, converting it into PDF and sending it by email. Is that what I'm sure that's not what digitalization is all about.
No, I mean, to me, what you just described is digitization, which is a very similar sounding word, but it's, what we're looking actually at is the data contained within these documents, not simply making an electronic replica of them, but what's the data in there? What is their value? What are the sort of rights and responsibilities that are associated with that document? And I think the electronic bill of lading is a clear example because it is a document that not only evidences a contract of carriage and also receipt for the goods on board, but there's also a document of title. So in international trade, it's a very significant and important document. And we have to make sure in the digital world, that we're able to share those same characteristics that the bill of lading has in the paper world as well. So that's an important aspect of it, which doesn't come simply by scanning in and making a PDF. You actually have to have a proper platform with an infrastructure in it and rules and regulations about how that might work in practice.
Can you share some real world examples where you have seen the benefits of electronic bills of lading, where it's been successfully integrated?
Yes, definitely. BIMCO since last year has been running a campaign called the 25 by 25 campaign. And that is basically to encourage shippers to put 25% of their annual trade volume on electronic bills of lading by 2025. We've been working very closely with a number of shippers, also ship owners as well, and other stakeholders to make this happen. And we're very pleased that even 1 year into this campaign, we've already achieved quite some considerable success with 4 of the world's largest mining companies, which is BHP, Rio Tinto, Vale, and Anglo American. They've managed to shift 25.1% of their annual trade volume of iron ore into China. Now, these 4 companies alone ship 70% of China's imports of iron ore every year. So it's a significant volume of cargo. We're not here measuring the numbers of bills of lading. That's not really relevant in the bulk shipping world, but the volume of cargo and the value of that cargo is really significant, as is the fact by using an electronic bill of lading reduces your reliance on letters of indemnity, which is in itself a sort of a legal and commercial risk. So here we're really seeing traction in the use of electronic bills of lading. It's one commodity at the moment, but we'll be expanding this campaign out to other commodities in the bulk sector in the months to come.
That's very encouraging to hear indeed. And one of the common problems that has been mentioned in adoption is interoperability. And how's BIMCO overcoming this particular aspect? Because there's a notion that without this you can't move forward and everything must come to a standstill.
Well, I would never agree that everything will come to a standstill without interoperability. I mean, with my last example, I've clearly shown the fact that you are able to use electronic bills of lading with the systems we have now, which don't yet have interoperability. So it is possible, it can be done. Interoperability will simply make all of this much, much easier to do in the future. And so, it's a good development, but it isn't necessary in order to just to use electronic bills of lading. So it's an enabler, and it will certainly will help things along. There is a lot of work being done, certainly not by BIMCO on its own. The only way these things are achieved is through collaborating, through working together with all of the stakeholders. And we are part of the FIT Alliance, which is the Future Trade Alliance, which is BIMCO together with the Digital Container Ship Owners Association, the International Chamber of Commerce, SWIFT, the bank messages system, and FIATA, the freight forwarders. All of us are working together to raise awareness, to help educate the industry on this, but also to push the platforms to find a solution for interoperability as well. And we do recognize, it's a bit of a pain if you have to use more than one platform if you are using e-bills. And so obviously we would like this interoperability to feature to arrive sooner rather than later. But I know a lot of work has been done on it, and I would certainly hope that we see a solution coming or appearing on the market within months to come.
Okay, that's good to hear, because that has been one of the, and in many surveys it's been revealed as an issue. But I'm glad to hear that it is not. And in terms of, I mean, BIMCO has always been known for its contracts and charter parties. Are you standardizing these as electronic standards, or is it still in the pipeline for users to adopt, or is it available already?
What we've done in terms of the bill of lading, we have developed an electronic bill of lading standard for the bulk shipping industry. So these are the data sets that would be found in most bills of lading used in the bulk shipping industry. So from that point of view, we've created a digital standard. Now, we also create the paper standards, bills of lading like Congen bill. That's a kind of a visualization of the data. So those can certainly accompany the data electronic bill of lading standard when they pass through various systems. So that's there and that's available already. So we already have the infrastructure and the documents and the standards in place, ready for these to be used by the platforms, which will particularly come into its own when we have interoperability, and therefore we need these standards for moving the documents between platforms.
So are these standards for companies to develop APIs around it and ensure connectivity?
When it comes to bills of lading, the systems we have at the moment, I think there are 10 different electronic bills of lading platforms available on the market. The significance of them is not the fact that they just have the technology to handle a bill of lading. That in itself, I don't think is particularly complex. But what's important, certainly from the carrier's point of view, the ship owner's point of view, is these systems have been approved by the International Group of P&I Clubs. Because what people will need to know is that as a ship owner, you're not going to use an electronic bill of lading unless you know it's not going to prejudice your P&I cover. So all of these current 10 platforms have been approved by the international group. And essentially what they're saying is use one of these platforms, and that electronic bill of lading will be treated in exactly the same way as if it was a paper bill of lading. And that's an important aspect of the use of electronic bills of lading as it currently stands. In terms of, other people creating platforms and APIs or whatever, we're not really going to be in that position until we see much more legal reforms around the world that will give recognition to the electronic bill of lading as being the equivalent to a paper bill of lading. We're seeing a lot of movement in that area, but not quite there yet.
Okay, nice. And what about security and data privacy and data security is of concern to customers? How is that
Yeah,
at
yeah,
BIMCO?
absolutely. These are all fundamental things and very important things, and everyone should, treat the choice of a bill of lading platform exactly as they do with any other systems that they're using in their businesses, whether it's the banking system or whatever. You've got to do, your KYC and your due diligence to make sure that they are using industry standard security. But when it comes to this talking about security, I'm always thinking, people are very quick to jump on the bandwagon. What about, cyber risk and all these sort of things? From my perspective, I think when you weigh up the risks of using electronic bills of lading, you've got to compare it to the system we're using at the moment, the paper-based system. And I think the risks in there are enormous. It's so exposed to the risk of fraud. And yet we don't compare the two things. Yes, of course, you have cyber risk in the electronic world, but I think the entry level into that sort of, breaking into a system, whether it's banking or, electronic bills of lading, you need to be quite a sophisticated operator with a lot of knowledge and a lot of equipment. In the paper world, You don't need much more than a photocopy and a rubber stamp. It's really simple and really easy to do. And yet people seem to place some unbelievable amount of faith and security in that piece of paper. And I think it's displaced. I think, the industry's got to kind of wake up a little bit to the fact that they are tolerating a high level of risk in continuing to use paper.
Yeah, I was quoting your recent article about the $2 million lost because of the original bill of lading, the one that you had posted on LinkedIn. It was very informative as well. Um, and in terms of educating customers, more customers to come on board, is there any other campaign? Is 25 by 25, is that done, or are you extending that campaign further?
That campaign will be extended, and we're extending it to the point of view we'll be reaching out to see if we can encompass other commodities other than iron ore as well. So, we're just going to broaden the campaign. This was primarily for iron ore to get the thing started, and we just wanted to demonstrate some good news to the industry that this is happening and we are seeing movement. So it was very important for us to get some early statistics and early wins back. That's BIMCO's campaign. I mentioned already the Fit Alliance, of which BIMCO is a member, and it has an EBL declaration that is encouraging parties to sign up. And I think over 150 different companies, including banks, have signed up to that campaign already. So we're seeing a lot of interest and a lot of movement, people committing to the fact that they want to see this electronic change, digitalization of bills of lading and other trading documents that is really important to them. So we will be pushing ahead as the Fit Alliance. We will be out there providing publications and education and information to people to help them make a good, well-informed business decision about switching to e-bills. So we're there to support the industry and also to talk to the main stakeholders to make sure that we can sit down and overcome whatever remaining obstacles there may be to this transition.
That's great news indeed. Grant, in closing, what is your message to the people who know but have not started using EBLs, trade digitalization? What is your closing comments?
My message is that this is happening and people are using electronic bills quite successfully already. You don't need to sit and wait for some further development. The use of electronic bills of lading will get easier and easier over time the more people who use it, but we have the systems in place now that you can do it, so you should get on board. It's quite easy to sort of sit back and sit on the fence a little bit, like, pointing out obstacles. What we want is people to get off the fence, step forward and work together with us and all the other stakeholders to overcome these obstacles, because all of them can be overcome, but it's a whole lot easier if everybody joins in and does it. So, really just encourage people to have a look at the systems, get in touch with me at BIMCO or through the Fit Alliance, and we can provide you with information sheets and guidelines on how to help you make that decision, an informed business decision, find out a little bit more about what's involved and what the benefits are. So, this is now the time to do it. Don't sit and wait for it to happen. Just, be a bit proactive and get on board now.
Well, that's all we have time today. Thank you, Grant, Director of Standards, Innovation and Research at BIMCO. It was a great pleasure talking to you, and thank you for your time today.
Thank you.